Welcome back to On Point. More on our top story now. South Africa's unemployment rate fell slightly to 32.6% in the second quarter of this year from 32.9% in the first quarter. The decline of 0.3% is small and nearly 8 million people remain without jobs in South Africa. But the change has been broadly welcomed. At least it is a decline, and analysts had predicted no change. For more, I'm joined by Statistician-general Risenga Maluleke. Mr. Maluleke, thank you for being with us. Can you tell us more about the data, because you not only look at unemployment but expanded unemployment and the different sectors as well?
Let's start with employment, Francis, in that we have gained from the first quarter 154,000 jobs, which makes us move from 16.2 million employed people to 16.3 million employed people in the second quarter of 2023. Having said that, we also were 11,000 jobs fewer on the number of those that are unemployed. That is why we are sitting at 7.9 million unemployed people again. Now, I want to come to the expanded definition in that, one, when we look at the 7.9 million unemployed people who are actively looking for employment, plus the 3.2 million discouraged work seekers, as well as another 800,000 who didn't look for employment for other reasons other than discouragement, we sit at 11.9 million people unemployed. And that represents the expanded unemployment rate of 42.1%.
It's staggering. Some people would say the real number should include the people who've simply given up looking for work, because obviously they would like a job, but they've just lost hope. Why do we separate this out and have the unemployment from the expanded definition?
We always release the two numbers in our reports. One is that the narrow definition that says you have 7.9 million people that are unemployed, representative of the 32.6% unemployment rate, as well as the 11.9 million unemployed in the expanded definition, which represent the 42.1%. So these numbers are always available. However, the headline number becomes the narrow definition, which is what the country has adopted in the National Development Plan. In the National Development Plan, the country has decided to track the narrow definition as the headline unemployment rate. And should that change, we will always put the headline as the expanded definition. But that is beyond our remit. It's a matter that members of the public, as well as policymakers, as in politicians and government, can engage and direct us.
All right, and I know you like to stick to the numbers within your ambit, so I won't ask you how you feel, but what I will ask is there anything encouraging here? I mean, this is a small change, but can you tell, or is it too early, or is it impossible to tell if this could become a trend that leads to more people in more jobs in South Africa in future?
I cannot talk about what will happen in the future. I have to measure. I have to go to talk to members of the public. And once we as SABC have spoken to members of the public, then we'll come back and report. But what I can say, Francis, is that this is the seventh quarter in a row that we are seeing gains in employment, which then inches us closer to pre-COVID times. We will remember that in the first quarter of 2020, pre-COVID, we were sitting at 16.4 million people employed. And as of now, we are sitting at 16.3 million people that are employed. We are just about 100,000 short to actually reach that level. And 7 quarters in a row, show that we have been gaining employment. But what will happen in the future? Let me go and talk to members of the public and we report at the time.
What you do look at, finally, is the face of unemployment. We know that education plays a role, race plays a role, gender plays a role. Would you say it's still young black females that primarily represent the face of unemployment in South Africa?
Certainly, young people 15 to 24 years have the highest unemployment rate in the country, 60.7%. But when you look at levels of education, in terms of graduates, we are sitting at 9.6%. So if you are less than matric, your unemployment, if you are at matric or less than matric, your unemployment rate is higher than the national average. However, the black African woman is much more vulnerable to labor market, sitting at 39.6%. It's even worse when they are black African and they are young, in the age cohort of 15 to 24 years. Also, Francis, out of 10.2 million young people, 3.5 million are not in employment, education, or training.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's cling to the trend that you spoke about. Thank you very much, Statistician-general Risenga Maluleke. The trend being, like you said, over the last 7 quarters, there have been incremental declines in the unemployment rate or increases in the rate of employment.